Welcome back to the Lightforge Podcast Festival of Legends card review. This is ADWCTA. All of these scores are Merps approved, but he is not here because he is with child. We're at Hunter now, so this would have been the one for Merps to come back to. But I will push through without him and hopefully give you guys a good review on these. The best card in Hunter is one of the more interesting cards in this set, and this is a set with a lot of interesting cards because it's not just pure power that makes this card so good. It is Barrel of Monkeys. It is a 2-mana spell that says summon a 1/4 monkey with taunt. 3 monkeys left. What that means is you play it, and then you get the card back, and it says 2 monkeys left. And you play it again, and then you get the card back, and it says 1 monkey left. And then you play it, and it's gone. So you can use this card 3 times. So, you know how twin spells? This is triple spells. And 2 mana for a 1/4 with taunt is kind of on curve. It's like not quite on curve, but it's really close to being on curve. More importantly, 1/4 taunts are annoying. Okay? Monkeys are annoying. And you can play a lot of them. This may seem like a weird pick to be an A tier card, which are quite good. Like A tier is like your premium level of class cards. But this is going to be like it's a rare card, but it's going to show up so often, despite the fact that it's a rare card, just because of how good it is. And it's going to be so annoying for anybody to deal with. If you know about playing Hunter, you know that oftentimes the difference between a win and a loss is just how much damage you get through, right? You just need that extra round of attack, that extra whatever, right? One turn is usually the difference between life and death in a mid-range or aggro Hunter. Well, Barrel of Monkeys will get you that extra turn quite easily. It may get you 2 extra turns. The only condition is you have to have a board to begin with, right? So it is a bit of a win more card, but it's also like a backup 2-drop. It's also a synergy card for anything that has to do with beasts or with multiple minions. Like, you want 1 mana minions, but 2 mana minions are fine too for the multiple minions. You can gather enough of these. And there's quite a few ways to make this ridiculous. And even if you don't make it ridiculous, it's still quite solid of a card. Like, very high floor, also a potential high ceiling. Alright. After Barrel of Monkeys, there's one more A-tier card. This one's epic, though. It's Jungle Jammer. We've seen a bunch of these already so far. The instruments are very good. 4 mana, 4/2 weapon. Death Rattle, summon a random 1-cost beast. Cast spells while equipped to improve. Improving it just raises the cost of the beast, so it doesn't really do that much, and you're not casting that many spells as Hunter anyway. So that's why it's not like a S tier card like some of these other weapons, but still very good. A tier card. It's also 8 damage to the face potentially, right? Like as Hunter. Next up, we have the core of the Hunter stuff. Hunter has a whole bunch of B cards. So the first one is Harmonica Soloist. This is B+, another epic card. So you won't see this that much. 3 mana, 4/2. Battle Cry. If you control no other minions, discover and cast a secret. Hunter secrets are decent, but they're usually like good for their cost. They're not like actually super powerful by themselves, right? They're still just a 2 mana card. You also don't get to pick exactly which secret it is. You get an option of 3 random secrets. Some of the secrets are bad. Some of the secrets are good. It's a B+ card because what are you expecting out of this, right? You're expecting like a 3 mana 4/3. So you're just getting like a pure bonus if there's no other minions. And you could quite easily set up a situation with no other minions. It is kind of weird though, because you're not really in control outside of the very early game. Like if you're not playing this on curve, you're not really that much in control of how much minions you have. Because you're usually hitting face as the Hunter. So your opponents are in control. Like, if you have to trade a minion that you otherwise wouldn't just a Harmonica Soloist in the late or mid-game, it's not worth it. Because you'd rather get that 2 or 3 extra damage than to get this extra secret. So you would just hold this Harmonica Soloist until your opponent somehow removes your whole board, and then play it. Like, it's got a little bit of tension with the normal way to play Hunter. Obviously, if you're a control Hunter, you don't have to worry about that. All right, more B tier cards. Bunch of bananas. This one is fun. This goes with the monkeys. You have monkeys, you have bananas. Bunch of bananas is a 1-mana spell, common. Give a minion +1/+1, 3 bananas left. They're not as good as monkeys. They're not as big as monkeys, but you get the idea, right? You can get +1/+1s 3 times. 1 mana for +1/+1 is about on curve. Bananas are quite useful. Like, whenever you have those Mukla cards that give your opponent bananas, I always regret it. Because now your opponent can do a favorable trade at any time. And this lets you do it. And it synergizes, right, with any kind of cast spells cards. Because 1-mana spells, this will give you 3 1-mana spells, right? Kind of insane. Alright. Next is a Thorn Mantle Musician. Thorn Mantle Musician is a 1-mana 1/3 Quillbore. So, good curve card. Finale. The next beast you summon gets +1/+1. As Hunter, you're probably using up all your mana every turn. Or at least you really should. So, the Finale is almost always going to trigger. You're always going to have beasts at some point, right? Even if you don't have it in your hand. And this one does not require you to have it in your hand. It's just the next turn. It's just the next beast that you play. Also, Finale triggers if you play on curve. So this is a good on-curve card that buffs your next beast, which could be your 2-drop or a coin 3-drop. So, all very good. This is a B tier card. Cass in chat says it's cute. It is very cute. This is a very cute card. Alright. Finally, one more B tier card. Remember, B tier cards are like about average in your deck, maybe a little bit better. And it is Banjosaur. Banjosaur is a 10-mana card. It is a beast. It is a 5/6 rush with the following ability. Whenever this attacks, draw a beast and gain its stats. So, it is drawing a beast at least once, right? And then it is gaining its stats, which are probably sizable because it's whatever stats the beast happens to have. Now, when it gains the stats of the beast, that means it is also gaining health, which is going to help keep it alive, even though it's going to be your opponent's #1 target. So yes, this could get out of control, but you do need beasts in your deck, repeated beasts, for it to actually get out of control, and this is really going to be targeted for your opponent. So you get to remove a mid-sized minion, maybe even a larger minion, and you get to draw a card. But for 10 mana, it's like a little bit low. So you got to balance the fact that this could be a game-winning card if you are sure your opponent has no more removals, with the fact that this is a 10 mana card. Merps really hated on this card, by the way, to probably no one's surprise. Merps is like, what do you mean? Move it down more. It's a 10 mana Hunter card. And it doesn't like win you the game immediately, right? Like, even if it does win you the game, it's not going to happen for a few turns. And it's true. If you're playing a mid-range Hunter deck or a aggro Hunter deck, you don't draft this card. This card is like F tier. But if you're playing a slower Hunter deck, the card does do a lot of stuff. Like, it does kind of justify its 10 mana price tag. So yeah. I do think this win rate is going to be terrible, though, by the way. Like, we rated it a B, but this win rate is going to be awful. Because there's going to be so many people who, like, draft it in decks where it does not belong at all. Alright. Next card up in Hunter is C, which is a C tier card. It is Arrowsmith. Nothing special here. 2 mana, 2/3 Naga. After you do cast a spell, deal 1 damage to the lowest health enemy. The lowest health enemy technically includes your opponent hero. So if your opponent has no minions, Arrowsmith can get some extra face damage. But otherwise, it's meant to synergize with bunches of bananas, clearly. Whenever you cast a spell, you deal 1 damage to the lowest health enemy, which is probably the enemy you want to damage anyway. But outside of bananas, that like 1 card synergy with it, 1 damage is not that much. You don't fully get to control where it goes and how many spells are you casting as Hunter. So yeah, I mean, definitely good. It's normally a D tier card, right? A Croc would be a D tier card, a very high D tier card, but still a D tier card, and this is C tier. So this ability is doing work. Just needs to do more than that to move it above the C tier. Finally, there's one more card in Hunter that's not legendary. It is irrelevant. It is F tier. 5 mana, Big Dreams. Summon the highest cost beast from your hand. It goes dormant for 2 turns. I don't know. It's a constructed card. Pure constructed card, not arena. For the legendary cards, the minion is Mr. Mukla. Mr. Mukla is a 6 mana 10/10 beast with Rush. Battlecry, fill your opponent's hands with bananas. There's a lot of bananas you're giving your opponents. Bananas are super duper duper freaking annoying. Okay? That being said, it does have this interesting side effect where because you fill your opponent's card and then you end your turn, your opponent's going to miss a draw. So you effectively reduce your opponent's draw by 1 while getting a 6 mana 10/10 rush. Like, super good, right? It's an A tier card. The fact that your opponent gets a whole ton of bananas is really, really bad, though. You are never getting a favorable trade, like, again. Like, you better be in full control after this, or, you know, or else you're gonna just lose. But the swing itself is quite big initially. 6 mana for a 10/10 rush. Alright. The final card, legendary, is the spell. This one is called Stranglethorn Heart. It is tradable. It is 10 mana. 10 mana tradable cards. You want tradable when it's 10 mana. And the ability is Resurrect all friendly beasts that cost 5 mana or more. If this did not have tradable, this would be like F tier. But it has tradable. So this is actually a C. Because it can win you the game. And when it doesn't, just throw it back in the deck, right? Like, the more conditional, the more late game a card is designed, the better the tradable tag is. This is the best tradable tag that they've ever printed. It is worth so much. Because this card doesn't work without the tradable. So even in Arena, this card is a playable, decent card in enough decks. Now, it's a 10 mana Hunter card that requires you to go to the end of your deck, right? Or like close to the end of your deck. You gotta have a deck for that. That is not a mid-range Hunter deck. That is not an aggro Hunter deck. Well, I say this a bunch of times in here. This set is not made for aggro Hunters. It is very, very, very clearly made for like combo Hunters and really late game Hunters. So this card is no different. But you put this in a late game Hunter deck and it is playable. Like, if a card, by the way, if a card is just tradable, I think it's still a D, like a high D, if it can't do anything else but be tradable. Because remember, the average card in your deck is a B. So any card that is tradable means that it is at worst pay 1 mana, upgrade this card to a B tier card. So this is C. Alright, that's it for Hunter. We talked about it. Really, your bunches of bananas is what you're going to go with, and your barrel monkeys as the rare complement to it. This is going to be pretty combo-y. There's not enough, especially among the commons and the rares, to really like anchor this Hunter. So these are just small pieces for the Hunter, unfortunately. And they're going to have to work with what the other sets are bringing to Hunter. Because this set, it's not that it doesn't have high-quality cards. They're just all pieces that complement different things. So there's no, like, cohesion in this set of Hunters. It's a very, like, help out whatever you're doing otherwise kind of set. All right. That's it for Hunter. What are we doing next? Mage is next. All right, see you guys in Mage.